Hello, everybody. Kevin J. Johnston here. Welcome to another Wednesday night real estate show right here on rumble.com/Kevin J. Johnston. We have episode number 21 happening, which means I'm now, 23 weeks in Latin America and enjoying positively every minute of it. I've had a chance to enjoy Mexico, Costa Rica, and now Panama. And I'm loving that. But we brought our two favorite boys back from Mexico because so many people had so many Mexican questions that I simply couldn't answer. So I figured, all right, let's do this. Let's call them, because whenever you guys ask for their phone numbers, I do give them to you, but I figured I'll call them for you and get them back so we can start talking about Mexico. Now, quick thing here about Panama, just so you do know, I'm in Panama City. Population's about 4.5 million in the country of Panama, and half of that country's population lives in Panama City. In Panama, they do not call it Panama City. That's a North American thing to do. Panama City is called Panama, and Panama City is in the province of Panama, right? In the country of Panama. So whenever you tell someone you live in Panama, you say, I live at 23rd block, 16th Oeste or Street in Panama, Panama. There you go. I think it's wonderful. Whenever you look at the road signs here in Panama and it points this way or that way, telling you that you're going to get down to the downtown core of Panama City, it just points and says Panama. Even though you're in Panama, province and country, they still just refer to the capital as Panama. There's your little tidbit of information. There's your anecdotal tale for the day. We have the federal election happening on all elections are happening this coming Sunday. So there are parties all over the streets right now in Panama City. Doesn't matter where you are in the city. Every third or fourth corner's got some big bash going on. So I will be walking around the town tonight, just enjoying myself. People are dancing. People are clapping, high-fiving each other, the whole bit, because you're voting for president right now, plus mayor, plus city council, plus regional council, plus administration, plus. So it's the provincials, it is the nationals, and the municipals all at the same time on this coming Sunday. So there's big screens all over this town. I swear to God, you know what it looks like is when the Raptors, the year that they won the cup in Toronto, where they had big screens all over the place. There are big screens all over Panama City where the guys who are running for public office are speaking and drawing large crowds. Well, we got Clayton joining us now in Mexico on the West Coast. Thanks for coming back, pal. How you doing? Everything good?
Yeah, man, everything's good. How are you?
Oh, things are wonderful. First off, I'm not in Canada. Secondly, I'm in Panama City. This city is absolutely phenomenal. But I've been pushing it now since I got here 2 weeks ago. I'm still having a lot of questions, though, Clayton, about what's going on with the developments that you were talking about, I guess, half an hour south of Puerto Vallarta, where you are on the west coast of Mexico. If you could go ahead and let us all know, please, what's going on. I'm sure they would love to hear it.
Yeah, so I mean, there's two. I can't remember how much I said about the second one, but they're both developments for houses. So basically just selling the lots that you have, 5 years to do whatever it is you want to do with it, whether you sell it or build on it. But one of them is down, it's actually an hour and a half south of Puerto Vallarta, down in Costa Alegre. And it's a development called Tibet, where they're really aiming at the holistic, off-grid sustainability image and having a Tibetan, like a Buddhist monk temple on location and have everything made of local materials. And it's very small houses. So like the lots are only, I think they're like 2,000 square feet, the lots, and then building on half of that lot size. So building like little 1,000 square foot casitas. And it's sandwiched right along the ocean shoreline. Just on the other side there's like a big sand dune protecting the ocean from protecting the lagoon from the ocean. You're sandwiched between a couple of lagoons.
So here we go. Here's Google Maps. There's Puerto Vallarta on the west coast. I'll zoom out just a little bit so you can see it. There's Mexico City down here, everyone. So follow the birdie. And then over here is Puerto Vallarta on the west side. So what town are we going to zoom into here?
We'll be going down to a place called Agua Dulce, or there's Costa Alegre Airport. That's where the center of everything that's going to be going in there is. North of Manzanilla, heading up towards north of Correas. So it'll be north. But
so is this,
but yeah,
am I in the
so not quite.
okay? And I do apologize. We have slow internet here. It's not the best, but it's also better than Costa Rica, so I'm happy. All right. Here's the airport, I think.
It'll be the Costa Alegre Airport.
No, this one's called Aeroporte Internacional de Manzillo, Costa Alegre. So I got the wrong one. All right.
Yeah, we gotta go further north.
I went way too far south. Okay, let's zoom out a bit here.
Uh-oh.
All right. And we apologize for the slow internet here, folks. The generation time is a bit slower than it should be. Puerto Vallarta. We'll start again. There we go.
Okay, right where the highway comes down and meets the coast. There you go.
Right about here?
Yeah, zoom in. So that's where. So
Okay.
basically, along this whole coastline, while you're trying to find it here, Perula. So yeah, just north of there is where we're going. Chapultepec. I see it. Chapultepec and Costa Alegre Airport. So
Chapultepec. You know, that actually sounds like an old Aztec word, doesn't it? Chapultepec.
Probably is.
Yeah, I think it is.
Could be. But anyways, so along this coastline, they're building, like, they want to bring in like a whole new resort city. They're saying it's going to be like the investing in Cancun 30 years ago. Like, they're starting with an airport. They have a lagoon that they want to make into a natural marina. And there are some massive players in the resort game that have already bought hundreds of acres of land to develop. I mean, the Four Seasons Tamarindo is already down in that area, and they just bought another couple thousand acres to develop. Louis Vuitton Hotel is there. Six Senses just bought their first piece of land outside of Asia to bring in a resort there. There's another eco resort called Chala going in there. There's actually a little bit north. There's a development that it's all astrology based. So they're going to have a different, like, koto, so like a different complex for each one of the astrological signs, and have the materials and the theme and the design from up above to match that astrological science. There's so many big developments and big names coming in there. And so this is like ground floor investment opportunity down there where, you know, it's just buying dirt at the moment, but it's a really cool development that's seems to be making a lot of noise and gathering a lot of people's attention because of the purchase price, right? Getting in for 62,000 USD to buy one of these lots.
Sorry, how much USD?
62,000 US dollars.
That's it for 1,000 square feet.
For just the lot, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So if we're talking about this airport going in, do we know when it's going to be finished?
Apparently I haven't been down for a site visit, but from what I hear from guys that have, it's pretty much already done. They're just waiting on some logistics for getting it finalized, and I don't know when they're going to be expecting their first round of flights.
Well, you know, typically what I think it is, Clayton, I don't think that it's anything more than we forgot to grease this guy and we got to grease this guy.
Yeah.
But we all know the way that it works in Latin America. It works like that in Canada too. Is that somebody has to get some grease on the palm, and usually these building projects that we're seeing all over Latin America, including Mexico, they get done fast, and you got to put that extra couple $1,000 in someone's pocket, and boom, it's magically done. You know, and you know what? That's the developer's problem, not yours. All right. So I just want to bring that up, everyone, because it's a question that gets asked of me all the time. I heard Mexico's corrupt, but have you been to Canada lately? Everybody's corrupt, but it doesn't affect you. So there you go.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a matter of how they disguise the corruption and whether it's out in the open and whether you have access to utilize it to your advantage or not. In Canada, you don't really have the access to it.
Sure. Well, I mean, in Costa Rica, that was one of the projects that we were talking about there. Somebody wanted to knock the top third off of a pair of mountains side by side and turn the whole thing into a resort. I said, okay, great. Let's find out how much grease you got to pay. Because they were talking about doing a $40 million project with this thing. It was like 45 million. And it turns out that the greasing of the local officials was only 225,000. I'm thinking, guys, just to have a separate bank account for grease and you're going to be fine. So what I'm getting at here, everybody, is that greasing palms in Latin America to get projects done actually gets them done faster. Just incorporate it into your mind and your budget. Someone's got to get paid. Who cares? Right? Make money.
Yeah. And the other project that I'm talking about is a little bit closer to town. It's like a 20-minute drive from the beach up the mountain, and it's right beside a PGA golf course. Actually, I've played both the courses.
And so I've got to go back now to Puerto Vallarta to show you that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Let's
it's up on the mountain. You have a view of like the entire bay. So zoom in on the like kind of the. I see it. Vista Vallarta Golf Club. It's got a green little symbol.
This
so
over
it's
here?
right across. Yeah, it's right across the street from this. Nope, the other.
Oh, sorry. This one here, Rancho de Tejas.
Nope, it's right on the edge of town.
Right on the edge of town. Oh
yeah,
man,
so, you messed up.
Mirador. I got a golf course here, Vista Vallarta.
Vista Vallarta Golf Club. That's the one.
Okay, so we'll click on that. Looks pretty nice to me.
Yeah.
All right. So tell us more about this golf club. What's going on here?
Well, so the golf club itself is 2 courses. They're both PGA Pro design courses. One's a Nicklaus course and one's a Weisskopf course. I've played them both. They're actually really nice courses. I would say the best course in Vallarta, not counting in the next state up in Nayarit, because there's a couple really nice pro courses there in El Tigre and Vedanta, but in Vallarta itself, it's the nicest course. And so, yeah, there's like 300 houses being built on the hillside, and you got views of the ocean and the bay and the sunset over the water. It's a beautiful spot to be in, especially if you're looking for somewhere that's close to town, but a little bit outside of the chaos, and you're nice and peaceful. You're right on the edge of the mountains and the forest going up the hill, and it's a really peaceful spot.
Okay,
and again,
well, that's wonderful news.
For the normal size lots, it's again 62,000 USD for a normal size lot, which is, I can't remember what it is in square feet off the top of my head, but 160 meters, because we do it all in metric down here.
Yeah. Don't do that with me. I can't stand metric. I got told that hold on here. Let me tell you how tall I am according to my medical today. I am 167.4 centimeters. That means nothing to me.
No.
Nothing. I know I'm 5'6" and not even a quarter. So like that we know. Yeah, just this metric stuff. Look, what happened to me, Clayton, I guess you're a little younger than I am, but I remember being in grade 4, and that's when they forced the metric system on us. So I already knew pounds and miles and feet and inches, the whole bit. And they threw this metric garbage at us. I couldn't get used to it. Still can't.
Yeah, I don't think they even tried. I think in school, if you're doing like a math equation, they do everything in centimeters and kilograms. But after that, no one does anything in the real world. It's all American influence. We actually was just having this conversation yesterday. It's ludicrous because I don't know anything in I don't know how tall I am. I don't know how much I weigh in kilograms. I don't know anything.
Yeah, not a clue. But actually here in Panama, everyone knows metric. So when we're talking about weightlifting, is it really? Okay. So yeah, weightlifting things is you can't say that I can arm curl 110. That means nothing to them. You have to say 48.5 kilograms. Oh, really? Woo!
That makes a lot more sense.
For sure. All right. We got Kim Park joining us now because we want to talk about residency in Mexico. And I'm also going to be talking about residency in Panama. So Kim, go ahead. You're the gentleman here. Probably better looking than both of us on the screen right now, who can get people a residency in Mexico in 2 weeks. Let's talk about that. Go ahead.
Hello, boys. Nice to be back. Yeah, so I mean, Mexico is awesome right now. Life in Playa del Carmen, where I'm located, is just amazing. I spoke to a gentleman last night, and I think it's very important. We were discussing the difference between Tulum and Playa del Carmen. And, Playa del Carmen, the reason why I chose Playa del Carmen is because they have all the conveniences. It's a real city where you actually have the infrastructure. In Tulum, everybody's on septic tanks. So it's a huge difference. But either way, like I always say, you should have the residency in place if you're going to spend any serious amount of time in Mexico. And what I think a lot of our audience like is that it's actually a cash society here, right, Clayton? So you actually have, my home country, Sweden, they abolished cash years ago. and I couldn't even pay for things in cash. So I really enjoy the privacy and being able to pay in cash down here. But getting the residency is normally a lot of headache. We fast track it in just 2 weeks. So anybody who's interested, they can book a call with me at instantmexico.com, and I can discuss all the details with you and describe exactly how everything is going. But it's very simple. You just come down, spend a couple of weeks in Playa del Carmen. During that time, we'll lock in the appointment at the immigration office. And before those two weeks are up, you are actually fast-tracked into permanent residency status, which means that you have your permanent residency for the rest of your life. There's no minimum requirement to maintain the residencies. You can come and go as you please. So it's a very good residence to have in your back pocket. And we also remember what happened during the scamdemic. Mexico was probably the most open and free country on the planet. There were some places like Dubai and Colombia who tried to stay open, but they caved in the end. And Mexico proved to everybody to be the most free and amazing place on the planet. So, they didn't even have lockdowns or, these, what's it called, the detention on arrival, no testing on arrival, all this bullshit stuff, right? So
I got a phone call, Kim, just so you do know, I got a phone call from a friend of mine on Telegram. He says, hey, check this out. And he drives down the main drag of Playa del Carmen, and every 90 to 300 feet, there was a booth where they said you could get your inoculation papers, your actual vaccination papers, forged documents, booths, and out of the backs of vans and whatnot, and they were all pretty legit. And a friend of mine did buy a few of them, and they worked getting into the United States and Canada. So God bless Mexico for that.
Absolutely. There are numerous places where you can get these certificates. So if you need to show that, you can absolutely get your hands on that. But I also should tell you that there is no shortage. This is like truth and honesty. Anywhere you go in Mexico, there are like vast amounts of people offering all kinds of stuff. So there's no shortage on different schemes, everything from residencies and stuff like that. But the issue is who to trust, right? So it's very important that you deal with a reputable person who have a track record of actually being able to deliver. And at Instant Mexico, we have a lot of clients we've been dealing with in the past who we would be very happy to give you the numbers and names. You can call and talk to them and actually confirm that we are the real deal, because there are a lot of scams out there. I was talking to a lady who got the residency through some guy, and she paid, I think it was like $5,000-$6,000, and that turned out to be a complete scam. She ended up with just a fancy plastic card that wasn't even registered anywhere. So you need to be very careful, and as long as you get the right contact and right people to work with, you can fast track your permanent residency straight to permanent status for the rest of your life.
Okay, and what would happen, just out of curiosity, if somebody did have a card that was faked by some criminal? What would happen to the person who's carrying it?
I mean, obviously it's a risk, because when you use your residency card for everything, to open bank accounts, doing everything, getting the driver's license, you basically use the residency card for everything in society, including coming and going when you're, going on flights. So that actually exposes you to a certain amount of risk, obviously. So that's why I think it's so important to get the real deal and check with the references and check that you actually get a guy that can deliver the real deal.
That would be my concern, is being detained somewhere with a fake residency card, because, who do you call? If you take that residency card to a country you've never been to, you have no contacts there. Who do you call to get bail? And is there such a thing as bail in every country? Because I don't know. I've studied Canadian law. I can tell you about bail there, and I've studied some American law. And yes, you can get bail there too. But do you really want to be detained by the American government in any way? They've become pretty radical in their detention plans. So, well, that's good to know, Kim. And also, you're doing real estate on the East Coast of Mexico.
Absolutely. I think, anybody who's interested in investing in Mexico, there are so many reasons why you should invest in Mexico, because Mexico is basically on this upward trend. There's so many projects both on the Pacific side in the area where Clayton is located, and you also have the train Maya, which is in the late stages of development, almost finished. It's going to connect, I think it's like 14, 15 different destinations on the peninsula here. So it's going to bring in a lot of tourism. So both in Puerto Vallarta and also in Playa del Carmen area, we have so much tourism coming in. It's a steady flow. And also the reason why I like Playa del Carmen is because it's less seasonal. If you look at, for example, Tulum, that is very popular because it's like Instagram famous. They have the high season between December and February, and then the rest of the year is quite calm. It's not like there are people waiting in line to rent an apartment for you. So when people say, Tulum is such a wonderful investment opportunity, it may be in the future, but right now it doesn't have the 3-4 high seasons all scattered all over the year like Playa del Carmen. So same thing with Puerto Vallarta. Is a very safe place to invest. It's all about cash flow. And I think as long as you find the right property in the right area, you can do very, very well. I know when I was investing in Norway, I was happy with 6-7% annual return, which I think is quite common in Canada as well. In Mexico, it's not uncommon that you do double digits, like 12, 13, 14%, or even more. I'm involved in a development of a hostel right now where the numbers are even crazier than that. So, it's all about what kind of development or project you want to do, but the returns are quite fabulous if you pick the right place in Mexico.
Okay, that's good to know. So now getting back to the right place in Mexico, Clayton, I have not been to the West Coast yet. I spent a few days in Playa del Carmen. And what I can say is that the nightlife is incredible, and the number of tourists traipsing through there is unbelievable. And what I also found is, just like here in Panama City, is that if you go down to the tourist area, a dinner is $50. But if you go just 3 streets outside, a dinner is $5.
Yes.
Exactly. For example, I had a lunch today right outside of the main tourist trap zone. It was a bed of rice. Let's not do metric here. It was a 14-inch plate with rice, lentils, beans, fried plantain, and 2 chicken breasts that were, 2 chicken breasts cooked up, ready for the price, guys. You'd figure something like that be $20. $3 American for all of that, plus free water. It's unreal. Yeah. And I know that Playa del Carmen has exactly the same thing. Clayton, how is Puerto Vallarta for that kind of thing? The locals, are they cheap? Go ahead.
Puerto Vallarta has gotten more expensive in the last couple of years. A lot of people that have been coming for a long time have been complaining about it. But we're seeing inflation, the same thing with Canada and Mexico as well, but just in a slightly different way. I can still walk down the road from where I live, and I live, within earshot of where the cruise ships come in. I can hear them when they blast their horns, and I can still go get a big plate of meat and have tacos for $5.
So there's still the local areas you can go to where it's just the Puerto Vallarta residents who are there full time. They're not gringos, and they'll cut you in for a decent price on a meal that they cook locally. Yeah,
like I had 2 nights ago, I had tamales. They were 25 pesos per tamale. So that would be like $1 Canadian.
Oh, no, wow.
Help me out here, Tim.
Fantastic. And people are asking me here in the TikTok room, why am I no longer in Costa Rica? Well, just so everybody does know, I've wanted to see the Panama Canal since I figured out what the Panama Canal was at age 7. It was that crazy Bugs Bunny episode where he was told that rabbits have a 2-cent bounty on them because they won't harm a hair on your head. And Bugs Bunny says, "Oh yeah, watch this." And he steals the locks in the Panama Canal. So I had to find out what it was, right? And now I'm here. And I have dipped my hands and my feet in the canal at both ends. I am ecstatic to be a part of it. But there are so many business opportunities here in Panama City. So I moved on to do something different than I was doing in Costa Rica. I find that Panama is incredibly easy to do business. And I found the same thing in Mexico because there's so much international commerce that goes through that. You got the ports here in Panama City, but now you've got this new railway which is supposed to be competition to the Panama Canal. That's, Kim, as you said, that's almost opened up. So let's talk about commerce now in Mexico. We talked about buying houses in the last show, but I want to know the types of businesses people can open and succeed with. Clayton, you're up. Go ahead.
I think a huge one would be there's a lot of room for services down, especially in Puerto Vallarta. I think a lot of the local services and handymen and people that build things were contracted out by some of the big massive developments, and they're no longer accessible or they're tied up with other work. So finding high quality services, I think, would kill down here, especially with the expat community, which is only growing by the day. Like finding things like mechanics and handymen and people to get other like what Kim does, right? He helps people get their residency and get all that sorted. With all these services for people that speak English down here, I think would murder.
Okay, I think murder means that would be good.
Yes,
right?
it would do phenomenally well. Sorry.
Well, we just want to make sure that if YouTube is going to transcribe that,
Yes,
murder is a euphemism. Thank you, YouTube.
Sorry.
Don't worry about it. It's all right. YouTube's taking me down for sillier things. But as for you, Kim, you're on the East Coast. You're over by Cancun, Playa del Carmen. I want to get your thoughts on what kind of businesses there are out there or opportunities for people. Go ahead.
No, I think just like Clayton say, there's a huge market for services, and we have so many tourists coming in, both domestic and foreigners, of course. But there is also a huge community of expats, which means that they are looking for quality services, everything from yoga to food to other services. And there is a huge opportunity for people who do, put together a great concept. So it's like every time I, move around in the Playa del Carmen area, I think about that this town is still very early in development. It's not a big city. We have about 350,000 people and growing, but the great advantage is that it's just on the beach. So it's very attractive to a lot of people. And there are a great number of, pieces of land. You can buy extremely cheap land. You could build like a jungle resort. You can create your own yoga retreat, whatever. So there are a lot of opportunities.
And I have been to Playa del Carmen. What I can say is that the main beach in town, it is white sand. It's a beautiful white sand beach. I was actually thrilled about it. And there was some type of man-made structure about a kilometer out to break the waves. So that was something that I would swim to whenever I was there, and then swim back just for a good workout. Yeah, it's a great beach. Absolutely. Yeah, fat guy can swim, just so you know.
That sounds delightful.
Yeah. My mother made sure that she stuck me and my brother into swimming lessons and competitive swimming so that we'd never drown. And you know what, guys? Thank God she did, because I fell off of a fishing boat in Florida. This was back in 1997. I had to swim 2 miles back to shore. Thank God the tide was going in. So I popped all my clothes off and swam back. I mean, no one heard me scream. Nobody heard me scream. So learn how to swim. Might save your life.
It was the fishing boat that no one noticed or cared that you were gone.
Yeah, it could be. That's that big mouth guy from Canada. Let him drown.
Guys, I just want to mention another thing that I think is very important for a lot of people who are investing, because at my hostel that we're developing right now, we have solar panels, and we even dug a water well. So there are a lot of opportunities to be self-sufficient, both electricity-wise and also water-wise. And I have beautiful drinking water, unlimited supply right now, and free electricity. So whatever you want to, construct or buy, you can absolutely be self-sufficient. It doesn't have to be outside of the city. Of course, you can do that if you want, but it can also be inside the city. And another point that I just remembered that a lot of people don't think about, and very good reason why a lot of people want to have permanent residency in Mexico. I had an American who said that they don't have access to all the online crypto platforms. So he actually got the permanent residency in Mexico just to be able to sign up for these crypto platforms. So I believe in Canada as well, they are quite strict with some platforms. So I'm pretty sure some Canadians can take advantage of getting access to crypto platforms as well with the Mexican residencies. That's another benefit there.
Yeah, well, Kim, it's a very good point you bring up because Canadian banks actually will not allow you to do email money transfers or credit card purchases of crypto. Even though it's your money, you get told what to do with it all the time. I have to address somebody in the TikTok room. Dusty, if you've been trying to get a hold of me, it's very difficult for me to get to private messages on TikTok only because I'm getting them on Instagram, Facebook, Friendavoo, Getter, 4 Twitter accounts, email, and sometimes phone calls. So I would actually just encourage everybody who wants to get a hold of me fastest, head over to my personal website. That's kevinjjohnston.me. It's in the bio somewhere up here on TikTok. It's in the bottom right corner of the screen here on Rumble. And just use the contact form. You can definitely get a hold of me. I answer emails a lot faster than anything else. But don't worry, guys. I just hired someone. She's wonderful, and she'll be answering all my questions for me on TikTok. You'll be able to get a hold of me quicker. All right, there we go. We are that busy here in Panama. It's a wonderful thing. So tomorrow night's show, guys, I'm going to be covering medical tourism in Latin America. Now, here in Panama, it's real easy to get down here and get fixed up and get looked at. But I want to talk to you about the medical industry in Mexico. If you guys want to go ahead and take that, who's got it first?
Sure. Yeah, I know a lot of people come down to Mexico for dental work. I know that Guadalajara is becoming a hotspot for plastic surgeries. A friend of mine had a big cardiovascular surgery down in Puerto Vallarta, and he had such a good experience that he now is building a business all around medical tourism because it is booming. Stem cells are massive down here. There's like, I don't know, a dozen stem cell clinics inside the bay here. So there are a lot. Like it's such a big growing industry that unless you're specifically looking into it, a lot of people don't know about. And the medical system is far, far, far superior over Canada's medical plan. It's private, it's cheap, and the care is phenomenal.
Okay, Kim, you're up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, most Western countries, people living in Western countries are under the impression that Mexico is like a third world country when it comes to hospitals and clinics, but that's absolutely not the case. I can, attest to that because I actually had a very complicated knee surgery, which took place in Mexico City in a place called Santa Fe, I think. And this hospital was like state of the art. I never seen this big hospital. It was like, and we have very good hospitals in Sweden where I'm from. And I was super impressed with the hospital, and they took excellent care and solved my knee problem. So it was very good.
Okay, wonderful. Tracy in TikTok, if you need to get a hold of me or Kim or anybody else, the quickest way, just shoot over to my website, Kevin J. Johnston, my name.me, and hit the contact form. And by all means, what I'll do is I'll send to you Clayton's and Kim's phone numbers and email addresses so you can call them directly. Just go ahead and send me that contact info or send me your contact info and I'll take care of that for you. And yes, we are for real. Kim and Clayton are in Mexico and they are here to help Canadians get into Mexico who want to go there, and Americans, of course. And I'm in Panama City, Panama, not Florida, helping people get down here. And the three of us are well connected with those who are involved in the medical industries. And for those who are interested in getting plastic surgeries or real surgeries done that are paramount to you, dental, skin lifts, facelifts, whatever you want to do, just let us know and we'll hook you up with the right people. Because that is a very big thing. And I'm covering that for 2 full hours tomorrow night on freedomreport.ca and here on TikTok. So thanks for being here, everybody. All right. Process. Clayton, process. Somebody wants to buy a house in Mexico and they want to talk to you. They call you. Do they jump on a plane and come and see you, or do you do everything virtually?
I can do everything virtually. Yeah, everything can be done virtually. I mean, if people want to come down and see places for themselves, that's completely understandable. I would probably want to see things too. But everything else can be done remotely, including signings. You can do power of attorney for even signing your closing documents and have someone hold the keys for you. And you can zoom in and be a part of the whole process via video, but nothing has to be in person. Everything can be done remotely.
And that the same thing on the East Coast there, Kim?
Absolutely. I think most people that I deal with, they like to come down and have a look at things and talk things over face to face and get a greater understanding of the different areas in the city and look at different options. But like Clayton say, everything is possible remotely, so it can actually absolutely be done. So.
Okay, that's wonderful. So I have to cover Panama now, guys, and I have to cover a few things with taxes. Kim, any concluding statements you'd like to make?
I just think it's important. I mean, if you look at the world today, the importance of having a second or third residency has never been greater. And I think that's the bare minimum to have an option where to go when the shit hits the fan. And I think we've seen the development, especially in Canada. It seems like Canada and Australia takes turns of being the worst country in the world, almost competing. And it's not a pretty sight. And I can relate a lot because I was raised in Sweden, and Sweden has the same thing: runaway inflation, government is heading in the wrong direction. You know, all these things. They implement all these ridiculous agendas, and having a plan B or an option is absolutely important. And I think Mexico is a beautiful second residence to have, and as well Paraguay, I think also is a very interesting option.
And you know what? We're going to have you back on the show. I'd like to do a lot of exclusive work on tax havens, such as Paraguay. So Kim Park, everybody, if you want to get your Mexican residency, get a hold of me right away at kevinjjohnston.me. And we're all going to talk, and you're going to become a Mexican resident as quickly as you wish to be. Within, what, 2 weeks, Kim can do it. Kim, thanks for being here. Appreciate that.
Thanks for having me.
No worries. Clayton, so your last statement for the night there in reference to Puerto Vallarta, west coast of Mexico. Anything you'd like to finalize? Go ahead.
If you're going to book a flight to come down here, make it longer than you think the amount of time that you need, because everyone, it flies by. There's so much to do and see here. It's going to be over in a flash. And then you're just going to have to come back again. And pretty much everyone does. In my experience, when people come down here, they love it. And they have to come back because there's so much left on the table to do, see, explore. So especially if you're wanting to make this a second home, get on a flight and come down here, and we'll show you everything you need to see. Yes,
and Clayton's a cool guy. He's also a very healthy guy. So if you want to lose a couple of pounds, he's also the guy to talk to, aren't you?
Perhaps.
Perhaps. Yeah, he's a very physically fit individual. This guy works real hard. Clayton, thank you very much for being here. If anybody wants to know more about what Clayton does and how to get a hold of him, right up here, kevinjjohnston.me, or right down there in the bottom right corner, we will hook you up and get you into your new dream home there in Puerto Vallarta. Clayton, thanks for being here, pal. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Evan.
All right. Two great guys. Love working with these two gentlemen. They're out in Mexico. And for those who are curious about Panama, I've got to cover a few things here because I had a whole boatload of questions that came in the last couple of days. So let's cover it. Why did Kevin J. Johnston leave Costa Rica to come to Panama City? Costa Rica, lovely place. Do not think for a moment that I'm bashing Costa Rica, but it has a lifestyle on the West Coast that I'm not ready for yet. I guess maybe not at my age. I might like it at a later time, but because the food costs in Costa Rica are really high, if you are looking to save money, you've got to go shopping for fruit at one place and veggies over there and meat way down there and so on. And it can get you after a while because you also have to remember sometimes there are power failures on the West Coast. And the last thing I want to do is fill a fridge to its maximum capacity and then have the power go out and then have any of that stuff go bad. So I got a little aggravated with that particular lifestyle. Being in the town of Uvita, or pronounced Uvita by the locals in the Dominical region, I would have to drive to San Isidro. Now, very cool city. Professional soccer team. We'd go there and have some fun partying up with the fans. And they had a big Walmart there with everything you could ever possibly need. But it's still an hour there and an hour back, unless you get stuck behind some maniac on the highway, which is one lane up a winding mountaintop. And that trip one way could very easily become 2 hours, which for us, it did a few times. So the food costs were a bit too high for me. But I also had greater opportunities being offered to me in Panama City, such as getting a chance to live on resorts for a short period of time to see the difference between jungle life in the southwest of Costa Rica and cosmopolitan life here in Panama City. I'm having a lot more fun in Panama City because this is a very big city and it has a lot of things to do. It has a lot of different districts and regions. It's got the very clean, brand new downtown core. It's got the old section of town where some things look slummy, but the people are great. And then you've got the tourist traps and whatnot. You have a bit of everything here in Panama City, but business opportunities is why I am here. So to talk about this now is that I know that Costa Rica has incredible properties to purchase, and the opportunity to double your money within 5 years absolutely exists in Uvita and Dominical, and even in Quepos and Manuel Antonio. But there's still jungle. And I want access to the Panama Canal. I wanted access to centers of commerce where I could make a phone call like this and I could be downtown in 10 minutes, which I can do for like a $5 Uber ride. And then when I'm done that meeting, $5 Uber ride, other side of the canal, get some business done there, race back here into downtown core of Panama, do my show, and then step outside and go party up with people all over the place. There is something else I'll bring up here, and maybe some ladies will be offended by this, and maybe you won't, but I have a cool Bluetooth speaker this big, and I've got some really awesome salsa music on my phone set to go. And whenever we see a group of ladies downtown, preferably over the age of 30, because I am over the age of 50, we'll just put on the music and say, you know, senorita, come dance with me. And we even have some good old Alberta country swing, and I'll dance with the gals, hang around for half an hour. People will join us and the dances get going. Like, that is awesome. When was the last time that ever happened in Toronto? Never. When did that ever happen in Calgary or New York? Never. You just can't do that in those areas, but you can do that here. People in Panama live in the moment, which is something I love being a part of. But on top of that, I do have to think about my financial future. And my financial future is going to be this. If I'm selling real estate and I want people to be a part of owning real estate in Mexico or Panama or Costa Rica, I have to be fair with everybody who's in Canada, because in Canada, you are losing 30 cents on the dollar. $1 million becomes 700,000 very quickly when you convert to US currency. So why not come to Panama City and buy yourself not one, but 3 condos and go ahead and rent these things out. I'm in a condominium right now, which is probably, let's say, 800 square feet with a bedroom. I've got windows. So this condo overlooks a 270-degree arc of city, and it sells for 160,000 US. And because the building that I'm in is registered as part hotel and part ownership, I can Airbnb out the room if I buy it for one night if I wanted to. Whereas in Panama City, you have a minimum 45 nights. I could do it for one night in this building. These are things to look out for, and these are the things that I'm scouting for, because I'd like to make the correct recommendation for any and all of you to get down here and find a place that you can afford and make money on. Don't get me wrong. You can make money on any property in Costa Rica on the West Coast, but it's seasonal. When the rainy season begins, people don't like it. So you'll make money in what they call summer, which is November to April, end of April. Great. So Panama also, the medical technology in Panama, just like in Mexico, is 20 years ahead of Canada. 20 years ahead. I had a real issue when I had my knee surgery done. It took me 6 months in Toronto to get an MRI. It then took 6 more months to get the surgery booked to fix the ACL that I had ripped in my right knee. So I spent 6 months rehabilitating my knee or my leg before the MRI. I thought I was going to get an MRI and then surgery. No, I got the MRI and then a 6-month delay. So I strengthened my body up and my leg specifically prior to it, but it's frustrating to go a full year with no ACL in your leg. Here, I could get the MRI the same day, and I could book myself into surgery within a couple of days. Isn't that amazing? So Mexico, Costa Rica, and Panama, you can just walk into a pharmacy and get whatever drug you're looking for, except narcotics. But you don't need to go through the rigmarole of seeing a doctor, wasting your time and half a day just to get a prescription. You can do that here, and you don't have to waste your time trying to book yourself into an MRI or a CAT scan. So medical tourism is something that I'm going to be working very hard here in Panama to make available to anybody who wants to get their hands on it, which I find to be absolutely incredible. So just give you a quick idea here is I said that I want to get my hands on a complete blood test. So I show up and there it is. There it is. There we go, everyone. I got this done today. Cost me $25 to walk in and get these quick tests done. And it turns out that I'm healthy, but I got high blood pressure. All right. So my blood pressure right now is 135/98. And I can tell you why, because I weigh 210 pounds right now. I ate too much when I got here. If I can drop my body weight 20 pounds, then that blood pressure will drop. But my temperature is 36.6. And my other numbers here, FC, which is to do with breathing, is 68, which I was told is perfect for a guy my age. And I got that test done. But now I'm going to be getting, for the $250 that we talked about on my show last week, I'm getting a battery of tests done, urine, stool, blood test, and we're checking for everything. Diabetes, absolutely. What else? I don't have the, oh, here we go. Hold on. I do have the list. I'm getting all of these tests done for $250. So they're checking for, it's all in Spanish, unfortunately, but we're going to be looking for everything. Uric acid levels for gout, blood sugar levels, creatine, glucosa, BUN, TGG, HDLs, LDLs. We're going to be looking at every single vitamin and every single mineral that I've got in my blood, in my bloodstream. We're looking for things like parasites. We're looking for absolutely everything for $250. So for $275, I'm getting every single test done imaginable. Now, Canadians back home will say, yeah, but if you just flash your health card in Alberta or Quebec or Ontario, it's all free. First off, it's not free. Canadians pay 73% of their earnings in taxes. Secondly, because there's no multi-tier system there, you are not getting all the tests done. You get about 5 or 6 tests done. That's it. I'm getting about 47 things looked at on the, that's more. It's over 50. Over 50 things looked at on this test. Incredible. My sister is coming down here to get an MRI. MRI, CAT scan, full blood test, the whole 9 yards, because she's been misdiagnosed with having cancer in Canada. That is a horrible thing to have happened. So I said, get down here, get it done. I've organized everything. And it's less than $2,500 to get the CAT scan, to get the MRI, to get the x-rays, the full blood analysis, the full doctor analysis, everything done. All biopsy, it's all being done. Is that incredible or what? So there are opportunities here for better health, better life, more affordable apartments, more affordable condos, more affordable food. Earlier in the show, I talked about the fact that I paid $3 from the locals here for a delicious meal. You know, Clayton mentioned earlier in the show, in Mexico, if you go see the locals, he's eating high-end food for $5. So yeah, there are expensive places in towns, but in these towns also in Latin America, there are very, very affordable things. And you know what? Yeah, mechanics, I should learn Spanish too. I'm stuck at 40 words. Yeah, what I did notice though, big smiles. Hola, amigo. And then at that point, they're very happy to chat with you in broken English. Everybody here will break out their phones and do Google Translate, so you don't have to worry about that. And the big thing is that Canadians are actually liked very much here in Panama. White skin is liked very much, and that's not a racist thing. It's a matter of we're called gringos here. And the perception is that gringos are nice and gringos bring money, which is not necessarily untrue. So they're very eager to do business with gringos right away, which I absolutely adore. So me being in Panama City, I am having the time of my life here because the city is big. It is very vast. There is a lot to do. There are incredible business opportunities in Panama, incredible business opportunities in Mexico. For those who are curious, all the lakes that supply the Panama Canal are completely full and slightly higher than they should be. So commerce is at 100% right now. Everything is doing just fine here in Panama. So whenever you hear North America blaming the Panama Canal for ships not getting through, it is not true. It's just businesses in North America lying to you to squelch a couple of extra dollars off you, right? And that's not a good thing, right? I really don't like being lied to. Okay. Yeah, and Roll Me Away says that you've been paying out of pocket for healthcare. I guess you're in the States because there's no two-tiered medical system in Canada. Where you pay for things in Canada would be things like chiropodists and naturopaths and homeopaths. But anything to do with getting surgery, there are no clinics you can go to in Canada for surgery. You have to leave your country to live. How scary is that? And getting down to Panama is actually quite easy, everybody. From Toronto, there's direct flights to Panama City. From Calgary, there are very inexpensive flights where you'll have a stopover in either Cancun or San Jose, and you'll get here pretty quick. And the first thing you'll notice is just how modern Panama City really is. So, everyone, that's it for now. I just want to bring back our special guests there. Next week, we're going to have Austin come back on the show and talk a little bit more about buying land here and developing land in Panama, because there's a lot of it available. We'll talk about $10,000 beachfront property in the next show. Okay, everyone? Thank you so much for being here. My name is Kevin J. Johnston. This is The Real Estate Show, which is every single Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on freedomreport.ca. Thanks for being here. We'll see you in a week.